Something popped up on a very popular company's Instagram feed today talking about shills among the industry and influencers, as it's referred as. The idea of an influencer or a content creator shilling, and what shilling means is basically taking money for a review to give a positive review that they might not otherwise give. Is a pretty common concept or a pretty common concern many people have. When you watch someone do a review, it's hard sometimes to understand their bias, their point of view, if they're being influenced in any way. By law, people are required to disclose if they have a working relationship or if they have been compensated in any way, but can you always trust them? And what's going on with that? Are these companies being paid, and are they paying these influencers big bucks to do reviews? Well, let's talk about that. Before I do, though, I'm going to say thank you to the sponsor of this channel, Franklin Armory, which I will talk about later because it's very relevant. So let's go over here to Modlite Systems. For those of you that don't know what Modlite Systems is, they are a company that creates some of the brightest flashlights in the world. Not in the world, but some of the brightest weapon lights that you can get. They have a very good reputation. A lot of great reviews have been done on them. A lot of people have been singing their praises. They are very anti-influencer, which I enjoy. I enjoy seeing them shut people down when they get some dude on Instagram with 100 followers that says, hey, send me a light, I want to take photos of it, because it's kind of like needy and grabby. But let's read this post from them, and then we'll talk about my perspective on it, because I think I have maybe an interesting perspective that might be informative to you. At Modlite, we have long subscribed to the thinking that our products need to succeed based on merit, not on artificial hype from paid influencers. We have dealt with these miscreants who have tried to get us to play ball with them since we started the company. We have recently become aware that many of these shills in the 2A world work for a marketing agency, and that name of the agency is Leviathan Tribe, which is a part of Leviathan Group, a large marketing company. I encourage you to go to look at this company's website and look at the people on the payroll of the company. I guarantee that you may be surprised, as many of the people you trusted for information may now be called into question based on financial ties with the products they are recommending by sharing on their social media pages or video reviews. Personally, I think this is a little bit skewed in the direction of negativity, and I think I might have a little bit more insight to it as far as how it kind of works generally, but you never know. So let's just keep reading. This in itself is not shady or wrong per se, as the main company is just a marketing company, and that's what marketing companies do. What we have found out, and what we intend to expose over the next coming days and weeks, is that not only do some of these shills work for this agency, but they are directly on the payroll of companies' products they are reviewing or talking about, be it running social media pages or producing video content or actively bashing another company's product. Because of this conflict of interest, they have lost any moral integrity, and we feel that the community as a whole needs to start discussing this, because we feel that this behavior needs to be brought out into the light. We have found some very ugly information about many folks you may follow with hundreds of thousands of followers, and also, more importantly, some of the companies that use these shills market themselves, and we intend to share this information at the time of our choosing. Leviathan Group is a marketing agency that works with movies, and brands to get their products in the hands of either influencers, movies, and if you look at some of their work, they have product placement where they show some of the movies that the various products and the companies that they've worked with, they've gotten their products shown in various movies, because if you have a company that's showing off ACOGs in a movie, it might make people more likely to be interested in that product. And that's very common. It's a way that they get relevant guns into the media and potentially drive sales. Because how many of you have seen a movie that's had a cool gun and you're like, hey, I want that? I guarantee you every single person with an MP5 gets really excited around Christmas when they say, now I have a machine gun, ho ho ho. So it works. Then if we go to Leviathan Tribe, what is this? These are the influencers that they have on their payroll, or not on their payroll, but they have working within their network that can create content, or content creators can be reached out to by various brands. So, some of the big ones like Grand Thumb, Chuck Liddell, Colleen Noir, Warrior Poet Society, Dono Operator, AK Guy, all people who many of you probably love, respect, and I watch a lot of these guys' content too. Some of them, I'm not going to say negative things about them because that's not the time or the place to do that right now. But a lot of these guys on here, I have known about this scandal or this controversy of people being involved in this company for a long time, because I understand that it's not really what it may seem. So let's talk about it. What is all this? I want to give you a little bit of perspective. I'm not a part of Leviathan Tribe or Leviathan Group, so I'm not going to say that I know exactly how every single person's contract is written, and I know exactly how every single person takes their funding when they do. I'm just going to give you some input based on some stuff that I've heard from some of these influencers that I've spoken to in the past about how it works. Leviathan Group is basically like a manager or I guess that's basically the best way to put it. So like when a sports, athlete has, a company like Nike wants to come up and say, hey, we want to sponsor you. Instead of talking to that athlete, because the athlete is just never going to have time to respond to all the emails, set up all the meetings, or negotiate all the little details, they have someone do it for them. And that's basically what Leviathan Group is. They are a company that works with brands to get those brands in touch with the influencers. They'll say, hey, for example, hey, influencer, do you, and I'm using that term generally because I don't want to single anyone out here. Let's say, hey, do you want to review this product by CMMG? Or do you want to review this product by TacPack? Or do you want to review this product by whatever company? And they say, I don't really know much about them. I'm not really interested. Not going to fit with my channel well. No, thank you. Or they say, hey, do you want to take this product from Glock? And they're like, shit, a new Glock? Yeah, I'll take that for review. The way that I've always heard it described is that it's two ways. They get products for review that person can then do a review on. They are not necessarily paid for the review per se, but they can be given opportunities to promote a company. So for example, in the beginning of many of my videos, you've probably heard me say something like, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of this channel, Franklin Armory. They've been a huge supporter of me and the Second Amendment community in the state of California, as well as nationwide. They have their wide variety of AR-15 pistols on the California handgun roster, like the CA7, 11, and 12, something I never thought would be possible. I'm very thankful to have them on board. That right there is and was a paid sponsorship. They sponsored the channel. They paid for basically an advertisement for me to say, hey, go check them out. That is very normal. You're going to see basically every one of those influencers on the list do something to that extent, whether it be Acre Gold, Raid Shadow Legends. I don't know if Raid Shadow Legends works with any of these particular companies or if Leviathan Group has any ties. I'm just saying, for example, company says, hey, 30 seconds, talk about our product, talk about our thing, we will pay you X amount of money. And that's very normal. That's very clear. They're very upfront saying, hey, I am being paid by this company to give them an ad read. That's why I'm able to make this content, make these videos. And that's, I think, totally fine. I don't think anyone should have any reason to dislike that other than the fact that it simply takes time out of the video and it might add 30 to 45 seconds up to a minute per video. And I know some of you probably have a problem with that when I do it for me, but honestly, Franklin Armory, I would talk about them often anyway, and it made perfect sense for me to take that sponsorship. Wow, I'm very sweaty. Jesus. So, just ignore that. But here's where it gets difficult. I think for me personally, I would have difficulty taking a firearm from a company that I'm being paid by and doing a review on it. So in the past, I have reviewed the Franklin Armory CA11. Loved it. Had a great experience with it. I loved what it did. I love its concept. I love what it did for the state of California. But in the future, when I make videos about Franklin Armory products, it's going to be in a way that I wouldn't necessarily call it a review because I'm getting paid by Franklin Armory. I can discuss their products, say what I like about it, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't necessarily be the same as a totally unbiased, because obviously I have bias. I like Franklin Armory. They've been a huge supporter of me. They've been a huge supporter of California. They're the only company to this day to ever give me a firearm, and I think that's really cool. I love working with them. They're originally from my area that I grew up in, not from the same hometown, but very local to me. Very small business that does a whole lot. And, there's a lot of reasons why I like them, and that's why I took that sponsorship from them. I wasn't going to take money from someone that I didn't feel comfortable with and didn't feel comfortable backing. So let's say somebody does an ad read for Aimpoint, which nobody does ad reads for Aimpoints because Aimpoints sell themselves. So let's say someone does an ad read for a company, and then a few weeks later they do a review for that same company. Well, it would be hard to kind of take it necessarily seriously, and that's why you see a lot of these influencers on these lists, they don't actually get paid for the reviews. They get paid for various ad reads, and I think that's something to kind of understand. Whether or not you trust their point of view is kind of, I think, separate. I think this Leviathan group thing, I've known about it for a long time. People keep bringing it up to me saying, hey, all these companies, all these people are shills. And I'm like, they're not. Being a part of that group has nothing to do with the integrity of the person. I'm sure there might be someone on that list that maybe gives reviews for products that might not totally be deserving, and they might go a little easy on a company that needs to be kind of criticized a little bit harder, but that's got nothing really to do with them being a part of Leviathan Group. And Leviathan Group is a fairly new thing as far as I'm aware with all these companies, a lot of people getting signed on with it. So whether you trust them or not, I think you shouldn't necessarily worry about Leviathan Group, because ultimately at the end of the day, all they are is a manager. All they are is a middleman. They send the emails, they receive the emails, they read the emails, they work with the company to figure out the terms and say, hey, person, do you want to do this ad read? It'll give you this much money. Here's what you got to do. Here's what the company is. They say yes or no. Or they say, hey, do you want to do this review? They will give you this gun for 90 days, at which point you can either buy it or sell it back, or maybe they'll just outright give it to you to do a long-term review. And they can say yes or no based on what they want to do. So I really think people need to understand that the character and the trustworthiness of someone is not going to be tied to whether or not they're a part of Leviathan Group. I think this is getting kind of blown out of proportion, because if you look at this list, a ton of these names are massive in the industry that are well trusted and well regarded. There's a specific name on this list that I know that got into a little bit of trouble in the past because they took money for a review when they did not disclose that they were taking money for a review, and claimed that they were not being paid to do the review. So if that's the case, I think you should definitely take what they say with a grain of salt. But, I think at the end of the day, you should kind of look at what they're doing, see what they have to say about a product, and then do your own research. Because there's some subpar products out there that a company might give to a person or someone might buy, and they have an excellent experience with it. Olight is an excellent example, I think. They're a company that, if you get a light from them and it works well, that's awesome. But, is that one person's experience, that one anecdotal review, generally enough information for you to make your decision? I'd say no. I think the reviews are helpful. They can help guide you in a decision. They can help give you some good information, see what someone has to think about it that has certain experience. But at the end of the day, it's your own responsibility to make those decisions for yourself. So watch the reviews, get the information, go do a little bit more research, dig into it a little bit more, and maybe make your own decisions. But you guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.